everybody to the National Maritime Museum, Greenwich, for our Comet Section meeting. So I'm Nick James, I'm Director of the British Astronomical Association's Comet Section. So today we're going to be hearing an awful lot about comets. And just in my introduction, I just thought I'd give a kind of brief thing about what comets are and what you can expect to hear today. So this is an example of a really, really bright comet. We don't get comets like this very often. But this is a comet called Comet McNaught from back in 2006, I think it was, with its fantastic tail stretching across the sky. And comets are really interesting objects because they can appear really impressive in the sky, really bright objects in the sky. But everything comes from a really tiny nucleus. And this is actually a model of the nucleus of a comet called Comet Churyumov-Gerasimenko 67P. It's the comet that the European Space Agency sent a spacecraft to called Rosetta. And that spacecraft orbited around the nucleus for quite a long time and observed it, and it's the best known nucleus that we know of a comet. But these things are really small, so this nucleus is only about 5 kilometers long, and everything we see in a comet comes from that nucleus. The nucleus is essentially an icy lump of material, which as it approaches the sun, the material in the nucleus starts to sublimate off or evaporate off into gases, which then move away from the nucleus, taking dust with them, and all of that then leads to the comet tail. And we'll hear quite a lot today about how amateurs can observe these objects and infer all sorts of interesting information about them. But I'll just do a quick introduction to the BAA and the BAA Comet Section. So the BAA has been around since 1890, and the Comet Section was formed not long after that. There have been a sequence of directors of the Comet Section, and I've been in post, I think, since, 2016, something like that, so quite a while now. Anything that I mentioned today, if you want to find out about the BAA or the Comet Section, go to our website. It's britastro.org. You can go to the Comet Section, and that will take you to where we have all the information about what we do, what we observe, how we observe it, and also records of all of the observations that we have going back to the early 1930s. We have a huge archive of images of comets, many of them scanned from photographic negatives and plates, and the more modern ones from digital cameras. You can go in and you can look at a vast range of different comets, bright ones, faint ones, interesting ones. There aren't any boring ones, but a whole range of comets. But that's the page to go to start off looking at the BAA and looking at the Comet Section. We've got a couple of publications that you can download. One of them is our Comet Section Observing Guide. We also have hard copies of that observing guide, actually at the front here. If you actually would like a hard copy, you can buy one down at the front, have a look at it, see what you think of it. But you can also just download the PDF if you're happy just looking at the PDF. And this contains all of our observing programs, the methods of observing comets, and some really interesting stuff on comets themselves. So describing what comets are, how they move around the solar system, how they work. The other thing we have is we have an annual newsletter called The Comet's Tale. That is edited by Janice McLean, who's at the back somewhere. Oh, you're at the front, yeah. Who's just going into rehab after finishing the latest version of it. It's a really good compilation of stories about comets from different observers around the world. So today's meeting, and I have to say, today's meeting is happening because of our host society, Flamsteed Astronomy Society, who have been absolutely fantastic in doing all the local organization for us. And also the National Maritime Museum, who've actually made these facilities available to us. I'm just incredibly grateful that we can hold a section meeting in such a wonderful location as Greenwich here. And of course, we're going to go up to the planetarium shortly to see a planetarium show, which is specially done for us on the subject of comets. So we're very, very lucky, and I'd really like to give my gratitude to the people in Flamsteed and the museum here who've made it possible today. So we've got a good selection of talks, good selection of speakers from all over the place talking about lots of different subjects.
And they get started really after the planetarium show. So Bobby Mallon is going to talk in a minute from Flamsteed's point of view. He's going to tell us how we actually get up to the planetarium. But once the planetarium show is finished and we come back down here to the lecture theatre, we're going to start the programme proper at 11:30. I'll give a brief kind of overview of comets and recent developments in comet astronomy, just a quick 15 minutes. And then Richard Miles will be talking about a very interesting comet called 29P. And then Helen Usher's going to be talking about a really interesting program that she's running with schools in South Wales and in fact across the country now, encouraging school kids to get interested in doing comet observing. And that's, you know, really important stuff, is encouraging kids to get interested in science through doing real practical astronomy. This afternoon, got Jonathan Shanklin talking about analysis of comets. Thomas Lehman's going to be talking about how we can actually observe comets digitally and determine what their brightness is. And then Robin Leadbeater is going to be talking about spectroscopy. So that's effectively looking at comets and determining what elements are present within the comet, which is something which has been a really big development in amateur astronomy over the last few years. Then we're going to have a coffee break. And then finally, in the afternoon, we've got John Mason, who I know many of you will know, talking about comets and meteors. So John is the director of the Meteor section of the BAA. And meteors, of course, mostly, except for the biggest shower we have, which is the Geminids, come from comets. So he's going to be making that connection. And then we're very lucky, our keynote talk at the end of the day from Professor Alan Fitzsimmons is on exocomets. So that's comets not from our solar system, so comets around other stars. So that's a really fascinating piece of work and research as well. Just finally, just to make it clear, no food or drink to be consumed in the lecture theatre. We have a seminar room that we can go into. You can eat your lunch outside, but you mustn't consume any food or drink in here. Just finally, from me, a message from our secretary. Many of you will know Dennis Brzezinski. He's been a comet observer for many, many years. He moved up to the very far north of Scotland a while ago, and unfortunately, he's not able to be with us today. But here he is. He sent his message. Sorry he can't be with us today. He's the person who manages our image archive and basically does all the really hard work of putting your observations together into the Comet Section archive. So Dennis, when you watch the recording, I'm sure we're all appreciative of the work you do and really sorry you can't be with us today. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Bobby now just to give a kind of introduction from Flamsteed's point of view. I thought I would put this up though before I do. Many of you will know that the prime meridian runs through the Airy transit circle up the hill here at Greenwich. But of course, these days it doesn't. If you actually plot it on Google Earth, it's over here. It's quite some way to the west of the Airy meridian. So when we go up to the planetarium, we haven't got much time, but you would have the opportunity, if you've got GPS on your phone, to actually work out what the longitude is up here. And you'll find that you're very slightly east of the meridian when you go up there. If anyone's interested as to why that is, call me at lunchtime and I can bore you with the details. Okay, Bobby, would you just like to do your intro now?
Thank you very much, Nick. So ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Flamsteed Astronomy Society, I would like to extend a very warm and cordial welcome to all of you on this event on our Comet Section, on BAA's Comet Section. I should share with you that when Nick and Janice first proposed this idea, I embraced this wholeheartedly, but not just me, it was also all of the committee members at Flamsteed. And we are very happy to be collaborating on this venture, and we are looking forward to today's proceedings. And of course, a lot of work has taken place over the past couple months, especially to get everything prepared. For some of you who may not be familiar with Flamsteed Astronomy Society, we are a group of enthusiasts. Some people may say nutheads, but I'll choose enthusiasts. But we are based right here at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, and we were founded in 1999, a little bit younger than BAA Comet Section. We are, of course, named after the first Astronomer Royal, John Flamsteed. And interestingly, for the events tonight, a very famous comet was named after the second Astronomer Royal, Edmund Halley. So I'm sure you know which comet that is. And I'm sure we'll be hearing a little bit about that comet later on today. So our society based here, we hold regular monthly lectures. We have prominent speakers from across the country and across from Europe as well. We run various astrophotography workshops, telescope workshops, and we do solar observing sessions right here at the observatory. We make, we have access to all of the equipment here at the observatory. And we participate in a number of public outreach sessions and programs relating to astronomy. So we do have events throughout the year to keep our 500 plus members very busy and occupied. But as we commence our events today, I would like to especially thank a couple of committee members who have really been the driving force behind all of the organization here at the venue. And firstly, I'd like to mention Polly Philippou, Simon Hurst, and Clive Inglis. They have been the driving force at Flamsteed for getting things together. And as Nick mentioned, we also have our counterparts at the museum, Sarah Foster and Tanya DeSales Marquez. They have all worked together as a team, both here at the museum and at the observatory up the hill, to really pull all of this together. And I would really like to thank the initiative and the effort that has been put into this. So as we go up to the planetarium, be sure to look out for Flamsteed's house. This is the one with the big red ball on top of it. Lots of interesting history and artifacts in there. And as we walk around the planetarium, keep an eye out as well for the comet weather vane on the astrographic telescopic dome. This is just north of the planetarium. So for the entire duration of the day, Flamsteed members will be on hand to lend any assistance or any help that is required. We can be identified, of course, with our T-shirts or name badges. And feel free to approach us and have a chat, or let us help you with anything you need around the venue. Now, as we embark now to the planetarium, we have a number of routes that we can take. So we've decided to make use of two routes, and I should tell you about these two routes. One route is short, but it's steep. The other route is a little bit longer, but there's a gradual incline up the hill. So you can decide which route you wish to take. Now, what we would like to do is, when we're ready to head off, if we can assemble in front of the main gates where you came in, the iron gates, just on the building here, we'd then arrange those two groups. So if you wish to take the shorter route, which is steep, it's very scenic as well, you can get to that group. If you wish to take the longer route, which is a shallow incline, we'd arrange a group there, and Flamsteed members will then guide us up the hill. If we have members who have mobility issues, we do have maybe one or two car seats available. It's just going to be a couple. And if you would like to take advantage of that, please let us know as we assemble outside. Please stick with the groups as well. If we have people straying away from the groups and getting lost along the venue, when we do find you, we will take you to the cul-de-sac, and we have a special plank overlooking the Thames there, which we'll I'm just kidding. No, but let's just keep to the groups, especially if you're not familiar with the venue, and we'll make our way up to the planetarium. You can choose whichever means you want to get back down, the steep route or the gradual incline, and then we'll come back here for the rest of the day. All right, so with that, I would say a hearty welcome again to everyone. We're looking forward to today's proceedings. Please be inspired and experience the ambience of Greenwich, and we're looking forward to enjoying the day with you. Thank you very much.